Hello guys, NautoAce here, and this will be a response to Ernesto Lopez Jr. on does Maxillian Dood being a Clout Chaser. So I'm not really going to talk about how Max is a Clout Chaser or not, and of course if you don't know who he is, he's a very influential person in the FGC. The gist of the story that I'm responding to is that apparently SNK Entertainment decided to give Maxillian a preview of Team number 2 for King of Fighter 15, Team Southtown, and a lot of more dedicated SNK players, King of Fighter players, were not happy. Say, how come Max gets it? It's not even a Uber King of Fighter 15 fan, whatever. And there's some sort of, a bit of jealousy to some extent. So before I continue, I want to just make a disclaimer that I'm not part of the FGC, nor interested, but I do like SNK. I do like the King of Fighter series. I play them. I did some showcase on my main channel. And in the case about Max, to some extent, yeah, he's influential to some extent. He's informative, but for me, it's like, whatever. It is what it is. But what I want to give my thoughts on is the art of promotional business. That's what I'm talking about here. So, of course, and like I said, Maxillian Dood, Mouse 923, whatever you call him, Maximilian Christensen, that's public known, is very influential to the fighting game community. He even was in the Guinness Book of Record, according to Muscle. So you can see why a lot of people kind of flock to him for fighting game news to some extent. If somebody wants to join the community, not me, but you get the idea. So why wouldn't business go with him? So again, in the perspective of business, that's what it is. So that's what I'm going to be talking about is, like I said, the art of business. So yes, time and time again, whether you like or not, a lot of company will flock to Max because he has a big audience, he has a voice, a lot of people follow him. Yeah, they're going to follow him because he's synonymous, whether you like it or not. And even so, that a lot of people claim that he's not so much an SNK fan, King of Fighter fan. He does play the game if it benefits him, mechanic-wise, netcode, rollback, whatever. The minute he's not feeling the game, he'll just stop playing. But that's all it is. So you got to keep in mind for him that he'll play the game if it's worth his time. You don't like it? Well, there's other YouTuber that does FGC. Just saying there. So the question really is, why do a lot of this company flock to him? Why not flock to somebody who's dedicated to a particular company like SNK, or in my case, Idea Factory International? Like I said, it's easy. The bigger the voice, more people will flock to them. So, in the perspective of passionate fan, yeah, you might say, why Max automatically? Why not somebody who's uber hardcore for King of Fighter? Because again, fans, even so they're kind of influential for the business, they're not effective. The idea is to have masses of people to get interested to a particular product. Like I said, when Nintendo decided to do mobile, the casual will say, oh, mobile game, Super Mario Run, then maybe new Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe. Oh, look, Fire Emblem Heroes. Oh, Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Again, you can see the pattern there. Especially with Pokemon, mobile Pokemon. Oh, maybe Sword, Shield, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, Legend Arceus. Again, you kind of want them to get interested, and then maybe they'll get into the franchise. Again, makes sense when it comes to the perspective of business. However, can Max also decline, say, you know what, thanks for the offer, but I think there are a lot of people more deserving to preview the King of Fighter Team 2, Team Southtown? Yeah, he probably could do it, but again, if you've been following Max, if you know his main objective all the time is to gather as many general consumer, general gamer to love fighting games. That's always been his thing. So when people say he's clout chasing, for me, that I'm not some kind of uber fan of the guy. I do follow the guy for information wise, not part of the FGC, but I can tell that this guy, his main objective time and time again is to basically spread the love of FGC, the fighting game. Time and time again, that's what he does. And yes, maybe he doesn't play the game that you played, but if it's worth its time, yeah. And again, I mean, you gotta keep in mind also to some extent, the guy is also a dad. So when you're a family man, you know your story. I did talk about that before with James. James with his family, same deal. So same goes with Max. Justin Wong. When you got kids, your schedule is going to be way different. Just saying that. So yeah, he could. But the reason why he was willing to do it, because he knows a lot of people will flock to him. And maybe more people who are not into SNK or King of Fighters might get interested. He'll try to persuade them. That's really it. I don't think to some extent that he's being selfish. It just makes sense, because when you think of FGC, especially in the internet, what do you think? Who do you think? Maxillian Dood. Makes sense. Even for me, who's on an FGC and looking in the perspective of business, it kind of makes sense. He can decline it. Maybe they'll go to someone else, but it wasn't being like modest. But to some extent, he just wants to spread the news. Maybe he does want to try it. Who knows? But clout chasing, I've never seen the guy being a clout chaser. Not even in my life, surprisingly. But like I said, the guy's a nice guy, I can tell you. The guy never fights back to some extent. Maybe a little bit when people go too far. But to some extent, he always just, he does his job. He does interact with fans. But to some extent, he never, ever, I've seen him ever deal with trolls. He just ignored them, which is you should. But that's a different story there. So it makes sense. Because again, remember, it's not just SNK. I know at one point in the past with Mortal Kombat 11, Ed Boon wanted Max to go there and test out the game. But he said, you know what? Cool, but I have friends who are more Mortal Kombat fans. Can they be invited? And there was some story that Ed Boon's studio, NetherRealm, said, well, we just prefer Max, but sure, why not? I mean, again, you gotta understand with NetherRealm, they're working under WB Games. Of course, the story with the selling acquisition story, but again, like I said, it's a different story there. So, in conclusion, is Max being a clout chaser? No. Does it make sense in perspective of business for him to try out new stuff? Yeah, because more people keep an eye on him than to somebody like maybe less known. I mean, yeah, it's not an insult, but I learned this through a lot of people in the internet. It's just, this is life, that if you're synonymous in a good way, I know there's a bad way too, but we're not going to talk about that. People will flock, people will listen. So say, I'll use myself. I know I try something new, a preview, chances are probably like, who's this guy? Why does he have a privileged preview? To some extent, again, I'm not bashing myself, but you just kind of see what it is. Because the new friends and people I know in the internet trying to do something, and the company said, who are you? An example I'm going to give out is this guy I know, the circle that I follow, fan of Far Cry series. At one point, this YouTuber asked, can I get a preview of Far Cry 4, I think? However, Ubisoft said, well, unfortunately, I don't know who you are. You're not that famous. Not all people have an eye on you, etc., etc., etc. And they said, nah, sorry, we can't give you a free code game. So again, kind of see a bullshit there, but in the perspective of businesses, they need someone who has a big audience. Yes, it sucks, but in the perspective of business, again, it just makes sense. Like if I ask ID Factor International, hey, can I have a preview of whatever game they have? Chances are they'll say, who are you? Thank you for being a fan, but who are you? I don't know. Maybe you just want to have a free game. Again, low blow, but to some extent, you gotta understand what it is. So it is what it is. It sucks. I mean, for me personally, I'm not gonna lie. I would like to try a preview of Idea Factory games to some extent because I like the company. I enjoy their games, but to some extent, the reality is, hey, look, you gotta have a big audience. They're not gonna give someone who's nobody to some extent. Not an insult, but they also gotta protect their reputation. I mean, big one is Nintendo. You have, I think they hire someone to help them with market for the Nintendo ambassador. I know another one I'm a fan of. They follow this person on YouTube. Tried to sign up for the ambassador, and he told him, "Yeah, nope, sorry. Who are you again?" Again, insult, but that's reality. It sucks. So yeah, that's my thoughts. In the perspective of business, makes sense. Max, not really clout chaser. He just wants to spread the love of FGC. I follow the channel to some extent, and again, it makes sense. So, I mean, if you want to go to whatever particular company, try to email them. But don't be shocked if they ghost you because, again, it's just business, just saying that. So those are my thoughts on Max, Clout Chaser, SNK situation. And the answer is no. He just want to promote the game so more people will buy King of Fighter 15. Believe it or not, I will buy King of Fighter 15 eventually in the long run. I'm waiting for a sale. That's just me. I've been doing it since way during the PS2 era, just saying that, but it is what it is. All right, so a little bit of follow-up. Credit to, once again, Ernesto Lopez Jr. He did a button check of Maxillian Dood actually responding to the whole situation. And like I said, as expected, this guy's not a Clout Chaser. He never did. He just loves fighting games. He has a passion for fighting games. That's always been his channel. So I guess it's one of those internet jealousy. I know, I get it, that why Max, why not X, Y, and Z. Like I said before, the guy is very influential when it comes to the fighting game. Of course, like I said, in perspective of business, it just makes sense. So he basically said was the reason why he got a preview access of the game or Team Southtown is easy. He asked the dev. He's been talking with the development team ever since King of Fighter 15 came out. So you kind of see what's going on. So he asked them, hey, can you show me a preview? You don't need to pay me to do it. I'll do it on my time, take up my time to do it. And he did it. That's all it is. So it's not like SNK gave it to him. He actually asked. So probably the counter to that one is, oh, well, I'm a uber SNK King of Fighter fan. I asked him and they just ghost me. Again, goes back to business. If you're well known, yeah, they're gonna interact with you. If you're, don't take it personal, a nobody to some extent, yeah, they're gonna ghost you. They're not gonna have time. They're not gonna always respond to anyone. Yeah, it would be nice. I know something they used to do it in the past, but repeated situations, you get tired about it to a point like, yeah, we're gonna just ghost you. It is what it is. I mean, yeah, customer service should respond. Props if they do, but most of the time, push comes to shove, they're just gonna ghost you because when you respond, I can't keep up, you know. It is what it is there. So yeah, is Max being a Clout Chaser for King of Fighter 15? No, he actually enjoyed the game. And he asked the dev. So he said, what about 14? He did try 14, he liked the offline from what I understand, but when it comes to the online, since it was delay-based, you kind of see what happened. And of course, when the game first launched, the online was really, really, really bad from what I understand. And the case with 15, yeah, it has rollback netcode, but the problem is, apparently the matchmaking is not perfect. So, I mean, that's a different story there. So, yeah, that's the follow-up. So with that, I'll see you guys later.